Hello and welcome to Seven Figure Conversations with Asa Leveaux. I am your host, Asa Leveaux. You are in the right time, right place at the right time for the right reason. If you have no idea what it is that I do or what my purpose is on earth, it is to transform industry experts into becoming industry icons in 4 steps without coaching. That's what I do. If you're like, Asa, that makes absolutely no sense. Well, hear it again. What I do is transform industry experts into industry icons in 4 steps without coaching. If you are someone that, you know what, Asa, I am addicted. I am even wondering, what the hell does that even mean to be an industry icon? Well, if you desire fame, affluence, scale, and legacy in your life, in your business, then guess what? You desire to be an industry icon. So to learn more, go to apply.livingicon.co. That's apply.livingicon.co. For a third time the charm, apply.livingicon.co. And guess what? That's not the best thing about today. The best thing about today is that we have an individual today that is definitely addicted, possessed into getting you to an iconic level for sure. We have somebody who is not just a self-made 7-figure earner, but they are a self-made multi-millionaire with a net worth of $3 million at the age of 25. Even though they're 26, I believe now, at 25, multi-millionaire. They've helped over 50 businesses scale to 6 and 7, and guess what? Even 8 figures. So when I told you at the beginning, you are in the right place at the right time for the right reason. This individual has also been seen in top media publications worldwide, also 30 Under 30 in the New York Weekly Magazine. People, if let's just say this is going to be a relatively quick episode, but I need you all in. I need you all ears. I need you get your notepad out because it's about to go down. So without further ado, we have Jason Wojo. Hello, sir.
What's up, man? How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Very well. Very, very well. So first off, thank you so much for coming in. Before we even get started, I always ask this of this type of question of every single guest I bring on. I would love to know, what in the world did little Jason want to be when he grew
up? When I was probably 7 or 8, I decided that I wanted to play in the NBA. I was really good at basketball from like a very young age. And just a lot of growth spurts did not happen when I was going from like middle school to high school, which did not allow me to play at a high level. So my dreams kind of got crushed because I was going to all these like hoop clinics and I was getting like recruited to go play in college. And then I didn't grow as much and I didn't weigh enough. And it was just kind of tough. So then they just stopped like the whole recruitment process. But that's what I wanted. I wanted to play in the NBA. I loved Kobe Bryant when I was, obviously younger. That was my favorite player, even though I was from New York. I just enjoy watching his game. His whole like Mamba mentality was just like something very attractive. But yeah, I always want to play in the NBA.
So when did the NBA, got it. You got skills, but how did that go into what I learned about you wanting to be a chef?
So that's where I was kind of lost in my life, because that was when I was basically told like, hey, you can't play basketball at a high level. So that's when I was like, okay, well, if I can't play basketball, I have to go get a job and go make money. So I started working at a cafe, and I worked at a cafe which did like breakfast and lunch food. And that was for about 3.5 years. And after that, I was like, all right, I'm about to go to college. Like, what do I even do in my life? I had no idea. I had no freaking clue. So my boss was like, hey, you might as well go to culinary school because you already know how to cook a little bit of food. You might as well learn it, and then you can own your own restaurant, because I don't think you're going to be good working for someone else. And I was like, all right, like I'll go to school. So I went to school, and then basically I realized like it takes a lot of money to start a restaurant for no reason and small margins. There was this guy who came to the school to present one day, and he was like, hey, like, we put $3 million into our restaurant. And we only make like 9% margins. I'm like, what? And I was sitting there and I was like, this is kind of a waste. And then he was like, well, listen, you don't want to do that right off the bat. You want to go, work for a hotel or work for a resort and make $15 an hour and enjoy the experience. And I heard that. And I was like, bro, there's no shot that I'm going to stay in this college right now. So then I called my parents like literally right after the conference, and I was like, hey, listen, like I think I'm gonna move back home and I'm just gonna go to business school. And then I decided to do that. And then that's when I got into the online space. I was curious. I bought Ty Lopez's SMMA course. And then that's when I started like getting my own clients locally and just playing with the social media game. And that's kind of how like my journey then streamlined away from cooking. Because to be honest, I actually sucked at cooking. It was very easy to cook breakfast sandwiches. Like it was like common sense. You just slap two patties together and you put scrambled eggs on it and cheese and you give it to somebody. Like it's not hard. So yeah, that was kind of like where my journey reared off.
I get that. So with the cooking, I mean, let's just be honest. Now you're cooking in a different way. Like you are literally on fire. Over $100 million that you and your agency has created. Like that's fire for me. And my thing is, you have these people who are listening to you right now, listening to us co-create this session, and they're like, is that even possible? Like, I don't even know I don't even know what the first step is to getting there, because I'm just now either almost at six figures or just hit six figures. How in the hell do you go from 6 to creating 100 million and having your own and being a multimillionaire yourself?
So the biggest thing that I see people do that is the reason why they can't get further is because they have shiny object syndrome. And that's like hard to beat. Also imposter. It's hard to beat it in a world right now where there's so many different things that you can get into, different business models like Forex, Amazon automation, SMMA, affiliate marketing, e-com, like all this other crap that's online. And it's like the only thing that I've always believed in is that if you do one thing long enough, you will always surpass all the other people who are in the pendulum of like, they'll try something, they're enjoying it, but then they have friction and they're like, nah, I'm going to start over and try something else. As long as you stick around long enough to get past those people that have literally no like discipline, you will always win. Like I remember when I first started, there were 50 Facebook advertisers like myself that I knew personally, that we were all friends. And out of all those 50 people, there's only 3 of them that I even know now. Everybody else fell off because everybody else was just not disciplined enough. And they just didn't really understand what patience meant. And that's the second thing is that, yeah, you could do something for long and long enough, but you have to have patience and you have to work smarter, not harder. A lot of people associate like this whole hustle culture with, oh, if I just hustle 18 hours a day, I'm going to make more money. That is not the case at all. Like right now, I maybe work 2 hours a day now, and then I do other stuff on the side and I have other streams of income, and like I do other things to enjoy my life, because you work really hard to make money and then you have this like active income, and then you have to build other things around it to build wealth. And that's the biggest piece that people can't actually grasp. Yeah, you can have an active income, you can make money, but if you can't make the money last and you don't have any money at all, you're actually still broke. Like, I don't care if you make 6 figures a month. If you don't have an active income that's getting you more money in the long term to build wealth, then you're actually not wealthy at all. You're just another worker who's making a fuck ton of money, but you don't have like the skills to ever last financial hardships or economic trends or et cetera. Like you're always going to be this person who is basically just deemed to an active income. The other thing is, I think that with all the things in the world right now, like all the certain things that, we're not gonna get into some topics, but just a lot of things that are going on in the world, news wise, politically wise, like we're not gonna get into the topics, but there are things that are distracting us too much. We are so hard to just stay focused, and it's so easy to get distracted. All these different social channels, this person bought this company, like this celebrity got divorced here. And it's like, there's so many things to focus on, and it's so hard for us to focus on ourselves. And I think that that's like one of the biggest distractions ever is the news and your phone and just like not having that like discipline. Recently I had to get a whole new cell phone because when I was running my agency for the last 4 to 5 years, I have accumulated a contact list the size of the Bible. And my phone looked like a fucking Christmas tree. And I was like, I have to get off this phone. If I want to have happiness and clarity in my life, I have to get rid of that phone. So I did. And I only have 20 contacts now. And I don't get text as much, maybe 4 texts a day. It's fucking magical. So like that was something that I had to do recently. And just like the last piece of how do you actually grow is simple math. If you are proving your concept, right? And people always say like, how do I scale? Okay. So you're making 6 figures right now. How do you get to 7? Okay. The difference between 6 and 7 is very, very simple. When you're at 6 figures, you are a solopreneur. Okay. If you want to get to 7 figures, you have to be a leader, which means you have to hire people. You have to delegate. And if you can't instill leadership tendencies in yourself to then instill in other people, you're not going to build a good team. And a good team, if it breaks, you can't make 7 figures. Okay. So then the question is, how do I get from 7 to 8? 7 to 8 is actually very simple math. If you're making 7 figures a year, you get to 8 by doing the same thing 10 times, surrounded around better systems. So processes, automations, enhancing your leadership, buying better skill sets. Yes, your margins will go down drastically if you try to go to 8 figures, but you will make more money if your systems don't break. So if you're chilling right now at 6 figures, your margins have got to be 80%, 90% because you're a solopreneur. Once you get to 7 figures, they should be touching around like 50 to 60. And then you start to hit the 8-figure range, which is you're touching like 20 to 35-ish on a good day. Like Apple has really low margins, but Apple is a multi-billion dollar, $1 trillion company. So their margins are like 3%, but with 3%, they're making $1 trillion. So it's like, you're making a lot of money. So that's really how I looked at it. Was like, people always say to me, they'll be like, hey, I'm making 100 grand a year. How to make 200? Just do the same shit that you're doing, but do it twice. Are you posting once a day on Instagram? Post twice. Are you spending $50 a day in ads? Spend 100. Are you going to 5 events a year? Go to 10. Are you talking to 15 people a day? Make it 30. Are you booking 3 sales calls a day? Book 6. Like, it's actually not that difficult. It's just that once you get to a point where you have all this workload, you have to be able to build something that we call SOPs, which are standard of processes, where basically you're like, hey, this is how I do this in my business. This is how this department runs. This is how this thing runs. This is how this tech FAQ, whatever you want to depict it as, runs. And then you hand it off to other people to do it for you, because you have to play the 80-20 rule to go from 6 to 7 figures. Like 20% of the things that you do have to result in 80% of the end result that you want. It could be revenue. It could be client retention. It could be MRR. It could be whatever you want it to be. If you don't have those things in place, then you're kind of just shooting blanks in the dark, and you're always going to be, a bottleneck in your business. And that's the way that I look at that.
Got it. So for those of you who are listening, please understand there are at least 4 or 5 things that Jason has talked about already. Number 1, consistency. Number 2, distractions. Remove your damn distractions. I myself this year had to remove all dating apps off my phone. All dating apps. Like, no, all dating apps, because I realized I was prospecting for ads more than I was prospecting for clients. And that was just the reality of it. Next, systems. Make sure you have systems. That includes SOPs, leadership, and margin. Know your margin. If you are someone, because I've met individuals like this, you may have a 6-figure business, but you still aren't clear about margin. It's simple. Just Google profit margin calculator and just do a Google search. What's the margin in your industry? Every single industry has a different margin. So where you might find coaching and consultants could get 80%, 75% profit margin. A restaurant usually doesn't have that same level of profit margin capacity. So I know this is definitely a short session with Jason today. But one thing that I would love to know is, I definitely get that entrepreneurs go through some of the most raggediest times in their life. They just shitty fucking moments. What I would love to know, Jason, is what was a joy moment for you? I'm inspired by joy. I'm not inspired by the story that's like, oh my God, woe is me. I was in a puddle, in a gutter. I'm not that guy. I want to know, when the money started coming, what did you begin to acquire? What did you get to experience that just blew your mind?
So when I was first living in Florida in Oviedo, that's like near Orlando, I was living with my friend Troy Erickson. We're still best friends to this very day. We decided to move in together in this college house. And that's when I had no money. Like, I left New York after college. I had like maybe 4,000 or 5,000 in my name. And we went to this conference where they were talking about low ticket offers. Our mentor, Greg, got us tickets for this. And Troy went. I didn't get to go. Troy went, and then Troy came back and told us about this. And I basically decided to build out a low ticket offer, which is like, if you don't know what that is, whoever's watching, it's like some low ticket digital product, PDF, whatever you want to call it, mini course that's like $17 to $47 that will get people into your funnel to then book a call afterwards. So I ran what was called the 100 ad templates. And at the time I was making, while I was building that stuff out though, I did get one of my biggest clients ever. And she's still my client this very day, 4 years later, still my client. And she wind up paying me like $7,000 a month. It was crazy. I thought I was on cloud nine. That was probably my biggest win before I hit 10K a month, because when she gave me the $7,000, I was at $9,700 a month. And I was like, fuck, I'm not at 10K yet. So I wind up using that cash flow to basically run this offer. And if you know anything about low ticket offers, you don't make a lot of money on the front end. You sometimes don't at all. You sometimes will lose money, which I wasn't actually, which was very insane. So I ran this offer, 100 ad templates, right? I had like 4 upsells, 5 downsells. It was a 21-step funnel with a book call in the end. I went from $9,000 a month to literally having a $300,000 a month within 28 days. And it was the most insane shit I've ever ran in my entire life. And that same month was when I actually had to go home for Christmas, because December for agencies is the slowest month ever. People want to have time with their families. It's just very slow. So I went home and I was like, you know what? Like, fuck, I'm still driving a Mazda. So I had like, because I did spend a lot of money on ads. So don't get it twisted. Like I didn't pocket 300. I pocketed like maybe 80 grand. So because I was just spending so much fucking money on ads. I was spending like $7,000 a day. It was nuts. So took all that money, had like 80K plus a couple $1,000s I had saved. And I was like, you know what? I need to put my back against the wall right now, because I just had a really insane month. You know, this is what took my dad 3 years to make. I did it in a month. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go buy a Maserati. I was like, fuck it. We're going to go buy a Maserati. So I went, called this dealership in Florida while I was in New York, chilling with my parents. And I was like, it's like, this is really a big expense. At like 17,000 miles on it, it was like 41 grand. And I was like, shit. I was like, do I do this? So then I traded in the Mazda that I had, and I put down like 19 grand on the car. And I literally got back from the airport. Troy picked me up in my Mazda because he got to Florida earlier than I did, back from Christmas. Then we drove to get the car. And then that was like my fucking happiest moment. Like we were dying in the car. Like we left the dealership and we like were driving out International Drive in the Mazda, and it was just so fucking hilarious. Like I thought that, like, for some reason, I don't know if anybody gets this, but when you get this weird moment in your life where you feel like you actually won something, like people win shit all the time, but like there's actually like a really defined win in your life. Your arms, like your veins pop out of your fucking arm, like really, really bad. And the crazy part is that night we wind up going out, and some girl like approached me because she thought that it was sexy that I had veins coming out of my arms. It was like this weird fucking, I don't know what the hell it was, but that whole day was like insane. So that was probably like my best day. Plus Troy got it like recorded when I hit the first 100K. So my stripe was at 98,000 or whatever for the month. And then I closed this girl for a mentorship. And then he got the whole sales call recorded. And then like we fucking celebrated. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I was working 19 hours a day. Like I'm not even kidding when I say that. I legit only slept like 4 to 5 hours a day. So like that was kind of my life. I was still sleeping on the floor. I had a bed with no bed frame. And my room was fucking disgustingly dirty. I would throw all the wrappers because I would order Chipotle. I would throw it in the corner because for me to get up from my seat, like I was gonna miss a call or something was gonna happen. Like I was just so like zoned in. And then I had burnout, obviously, because you go through that enough, you just fucking collapse. So I had a little bit of episode of that. I had to go to a sleep chamber for a couple days because I like passed out. Like I literally passed out for like 2 days straight. I woke up and Troy was like, bro, where the fuck have you been? I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? He's like, where have you been the last 2 days? Like, no one's seen you. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I just woke up. And I really realized that I passed out for 2 days straight. And I was like, bro, that's not good. No one sleeps for 2 days. So then I had to go to a sleep chamber, went to the doctor, got all that fixed. And I had to change my life because I couldn't keep going that route. Even though the money was great, it was like, whoa, we got to slow down. So that's when I started building a lead gen funnel to a book call, hired a sales team, fucking give me some mental space. And that was the transition that I made. But yeah, like that was like definitely like my most joyful moment, hands down.
Man, I thank you for that. Like I was living vicariously through you every fucking second of that story. So you talked about, burnout and having to go to a sleep chamber and all of that. And a lot of times before individuals hit 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures, they sometimes project an idea that people at that level already don't have problems. Like now all of a sudden, because of the money, you're good. There's absolutely nothing that can touch you now. Is there anything that you like? No, like we still go through shit in business or personal that you can let us know.
Oh
What
yeah.
this life
Oh
looks
yeah.
like.
So a couple of things I will say is that this is the hardest thing to do when you're trying to build a business, is like having a relationship. And I learned that the hard way. Like I had a girlfriend at the time. She was really great. I have nothing bad to say about her. I'm not that kind of person. Like some people break up and they're like, that person was terrible. I'm like, actually, like maybe you just sucked and they sucked, and you just both have to just realize that you're not in the right place to be in a relationship yet. Like just have some time, like drop your ego for 5 seconds and realize that. Because like in our culture, the thing that bothers me the most is that everybody just wants to be right. No one gives a fuck about the other party. Everybody just wants to be right. And it's like, dude, it's not always about being right. It's about being like a goodwill human being, and you'll get what you want. Okay. So I was in this relationship. I let her move in too fast. I was too excited. I was like so ecstatic about like actually trying to find love, because I figured, hey, like I'm making money, maybe I should enjoy it with somebody else. Like maybe go on vacations and enjoy this stuff and get a dog and do all this shit. And I realized that it was a whole fucking mistake. And the reason why is because before you can really find love in somebody else, you got to find love in yourself. And that's the hardest thing for people to really understand, is that you can make all the money that you want, but your biggest problem is going to be looking internally at your actual problems and your childhood traumas and all the things that you need to fix first and talk to. Like everybody has an inner child that they have to, obviously fix and talk to and coddle first before they can actually go love somebody else and instill confidence and instill purpose and path and all that shit, into somebody else while still focusing on themselves. So I learned that the hard way. And then we wound up splitting that off. And that's like one side of the coin, which is don't try to just get stuck in shit because you've never experienced love before. And I'm telling you, it's going to hurt more if you've never experienced love and then you get in love and then you break up. You're going to feel like shit, and it's going to affect your business, which it did for me. So there's that. Second thing is that when you do make more money, the whole making more money, more problems thing is actually true. Just no one wants to admit it. Because people be like, oh, well, I made more money. I paid other people. I'm like, dude, do you not realize the hiring curve? Do you not realize the amount of money you probably had to spend, which I already had to spend to figure out how things work and what needs to get fixed and what needs to get optimized? And like, dude, we had a problem in May of last year when some person went into our Facebook ad accounts and fucking hacked us. And all 190 of our client ad accounts got disabled. I had to wire somebody who, like, on the inside knew how to get Facebook ad accounts back. $800 per ad account. So do the math. I had to send this guy basically a fucking payment on a Rolls Royce to get my Facebook ad accounts back. I could have bought another McLaren. Instead, I had to get my Facebook ad accounts back. So things will happen in the business that you just can never expect. Like that felt like a tax bill. It was just fucking rigorous. And like those are things that will happen. We changed softwares last year. We lost like 70 grand by changing softwares because it wasn't what we thought it was going to be. And the whole system fucking collapsed. And then we had to take a whole 2 months off. And it was just like a shit show. And those things happen a lot. More of my wealth was actually generated when I was a solopreneur for 3.5 years. So that was when my margins were 90% and I was fucking straight balling. So it was just like, that was the way that I kind of just made most of my money. Right now, though, I'm trying to obviously I'm making less, but automating more and getting more time to myself and enjoying my life. That's more important to me right now. And as long as it turns a profit, I don't really care about making more or less. I just want to be happy. And that's the thing too, is like, once you start making more money, you actually start to realize that you'll never go hungry again. You've built so many skill sets as an individual that it's very hard for you to take a step back and be like, yeah, like I need to keep hustling. Like technically you don't. And the culture that we're in will tell you, work your fucking ass off, like get a Rolls Royce. Like if you don't have a mansion, you're not a man. It's like, you're going to like literally hurt yourself. Like just relax. Like no one is behind you all day long. Like, yo, man, like you need to get your mom a house. Like that, all that cultural shit. Like, yeah, cool. Like get your mom stuff, but you don't need to buy your mom a house. Like stop being an idiot. Like, it's all this shit is just stupid. It's like, help your parents with their car payments, once in a while, take them out to eat, send them a gift card in the mail. Like, you don't have to buy your parents a fucking car or house. It's just like crazy because what's funny is that you've never seen a person buy something for their parents and not share it on social media. They do it just to share it. They don't do it for the goodness of the fucking deed. They do it to be like, hey, like, I bought my mom this car because I do e-commerce. Buy my shit. It's like, dude, you only did that for a marketing ad. You didn't do that because you actually loved your mom. You're an ass clown. And it just pisses me off because it's like, I don't do that stuff for my parents publicly. I don't, because I actually don't want my parents to be on my Instagram and people know that my parents are on, because I don't want them DMing my parents like, can you give me Jason's phone number? I don't want my parents being known on the internet. That is a boundary I do not want being crossed. So it's like, that's really the problems. Like those are the problems that I faced. And the other problem is that you're going to get to a point where maybe you've plateaued and your question to yourself is, am I still good enough? Like, am I still good? And that's where you need to do one thing, which is always keep your genius. I learned this from like my biggest mentor, Greg Barry. He always tells me like, hey, you have to like really relinquish and keep your genius. And what he means by that is you get to a point in your life where you're making X amount of money and it plateaus and it stays like this. And it's because you're actually bored. You've given yourself nothing new to do to keep your genius, because your genius was in building it. But now that you mastered it and it's easy, it's like taking a spelling test. I always get 100 on it. It gets boring after a while. There's no genius involved. Now you need a new set of words to go after to be able to spell. So that's either maybe building out a sub company. If your company's making over $1 million a year, why don't you go acquisition and buy a company and then build that out and attach it to your current one? Maybe go run a low ticket offer and build out a funnel. I don't fucking know. Go start a YouTube channel. Go do something that brings back your genius because you're excited to build something from zero again, or at least from some type of traction, and optimize it. Because once you figure out the game of making money, it just gets really, really boring. That's why you got to find something else to attach your genius to, because boredom will make you make stupid purchases and stupid choices. So,
well, let's talk about this stupid money though. So there are people that are right now listening to you and they're like, okay, Jason seems like that dude. Like, he seems like he's knowledgeable. He definitely doesn't talk like a 25, 26-year-old at all. He's definitely been through some shit. And I'm thinking about like, he could help me. I would love for you to like, let them know what they should have in place, if anything, if they would like to position themselves and align themselves with your company to help them grow to that 6, 7, and 8-figure level.
Yeah. So the biggest things that we look for are business owners who understand that paid advertising is a very long-term play and you need to own your data. Okay. Number 2 is you need to have a good offer in place. If you are running a business and you don't know what an irresistible offer is, you need to really sit down and really think about what is an offer that's going to make your prospect say yes without you even selling anything else, right? What is this lead in that you have in the business that with all the front end traffic that you want to achieve is going to make people come into your ecosystem with little effort possible? Number 2 is that you need to understand that you need a good sales process, a proven landing page, a proven funnel in place, so that if we were to run traffic for you, it would be predictable and then we can optimize and tweak it as we go. Number 3 is you need to be able to understand that getting ad creatives or having assets of ad creatives is a good thing to be testing all of them, and also be building out your UGC content, which is user generated content, and then your testimonial videos and your top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel targeting, which is just like top of funnel is cold, middle of funnel is those people who are cold, nurturing them, and then bottom of funnel is just finishing those people off and getting them to buy shit. So that's number 3. Number 4 is you need to know your numbers. What's your close rate? What's your, cost per lead? What's your cost per book call? What's your cost per show? What's your follow-up nurture? Like, how much money do you make on an LTV basis every 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? If you don't know your offer, your landing page, your ads, and your back-end KPIs, then you should be working with us, because we can help you obviously achieve that. If you already have those things dialed in, then it's a matter of us running omnipresent ads, which is you running ads on every platform and swarming your prospect around the internet. Because there's one thing that I know, it's that after running so much money in ad spend, like you spend over 20 million across 90 plus niches and verticals, is that if you have a shit sales process, then you are not, doesn't matter what ad creative you have. If your sales process is terrible and your numbers aren't dialed in, then you should not be running paid traffic. But you could obviously pay to harness that. You have to learn from that mistake of not knowing those numbers and knowing that thing or that offer or that lander or the right messaging in the copy and etc. to know what works and what doesn't. You have to spend money to make money. You have to pay to play. And that's the way the game has always worked.
Now, with that being said, if someone is like, Jason, I've never ran ads before, I don't even know where to start, can I still work with you? Even though I'll let them know right now, you are having an event coming up that could support them with that in Orlando.
Yeah. So January 21st and 22nd, I'm running a 2-day mastermind at the Wyndham Hotel. It's in Orlando, Florida on International Drive. These 2-day events I've always hosted. This is like my 13th. And I do these events for free because I don't really want to get paid. I do sell on the second day, but I don't really spend a lot of money on the event. So it's like, I don't really care. I do it for content reasons too, and just building an audience. So we talk about those 4 key parts, like how to build a good offer, your landing pages, what your funnel should look like, all the back-end KPIs, increasing show rates, sales call scripts, all this shit we talk about, so that you could kind of use it for those 2 days and start to formulate yourself. Like bring your laptop, bring a notepad, and like it's real strategy that's customized to you. And people fucking love them. Like I have 157 people signed up for this one. So that should be dope. I mean, it just depends on show rates. Probably 50-60% will show. So 70 people, 80 people, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, that's how they could do that. If they want to work with me one-on-one, I do coaching for people who need to harness those 4 key parts as well. And if you go to my Instagram, you can DM me and ask about that. I don't just let anybody buy that, because I have certain prerequisites beforehand. But yeah, I mean, they can work with one-on-one. If they want to go through the agency, they have to have like those 4 things ready to go though. So it's like, if you have your landing page, you're running ads and you need someone to optimize your whole entire funnel in your business, then that would make more sense for a done for you, which me and my company would take over for you. But if you don't have those things in line and you're struggling to get them aligned, then I can one-on-one, mentor you for those things.
Got it. So if you are listening, you are clear now how Jason can help you. I'm telling you, if you can get your way to Orlando, get your ass to Orlando. I saw the Eventbrite. I was looking at them, like literally just put Jason Wojo, put in Orlando, put it in Eventbrite, get your ass down there because it's free, right?
Yeah, it's free.
Yeah, it's free, as in free. So I need you all to get there. Like seriously, I'm already destined to be at a conference. That's the only reason I'm not going to be in Orlando. When I saw that, I was like, dude, that's just fire, and it's free. So as we wrap up, what I would love to know is, Jason, if you could let us in on what's big for you next. What are you excited about? Like really, like what makes your like little boy heart like just get on fire about what's next for you?
So right now we're really just focused on dialing in the sales team and our ads, which I do. So that's my little genius passion project, because we've run ads for the last 2 years, but right now I'm starting to get into the numbers of it and really just trying to optimize our traffic sources and getting more qualified people in. Second thing is our YouTube channel. We're verified now, but like we're trying to get more on the YouTube channel side, getting more qualified leads that way. Number 3 would be as far as like my board here, we've sold 634 people into coaching. So I want to get to 1,000. So we have to do 350 people this year. I want to do 15% more margins this year. I want to get 1 extra speaking event a month. And then also I have like this automated Forex bot that I'm inside of. That's like trading my account. I'm looking to get that passive income to like 50K a year. So that's kind of one of my goals for the year. And then we've been tapping into TikTok ads. So I'm trying to make that profitable. So if I could dial in TikTok ads, because Facebook and IG have always been our key driver. So if I could get TikTok ads to be profitable and we could sell more coaching plus done for you on the back end, then that's going to make my revenue increase and make those margins easier to hit.
Sounds dope, man. I'm looking forward to following you as you complete, kill, destroy those goals, those plans for you. It has been absolutely great. It has been knowledge packed. It has not been a waste of my time at all to be here. And I've been in business since, well, a really long time. I'm 39. I've been in this game for a minute, even 20 years military. Like seriously, this has been beneficial for me. So I know for a fact it's been beneficial to the audience because I definitely talk to them. So thank you so much. If there's anything that I can do, we can do to support you, please let us know. Please go to www.jasonrunsads.com/sign-up. Please do that. It will be in the show notes. I'm going to say that again, though, just in case you are someone who's writing it down. www.jasonruns ads with an s.com/sign-up. And that is in the show notes. Of course, you can find, if you do Jason Wojo anywhere, believe me, when I tell you he pops up in a real significant way. Like, this dude is not playing games when it comes to exposure. As we all shouldn't be playing games, like, you should be able to really easily find you if you want more clients, if you want scale. So that's reality. Please remember that the Wealth Spa is open for you. You are desiring to understand, learn more about turning your expertise into a life where you are an industry icon. Go to apply.livingicon.co. For my veteran friends out there, if you call me, I have something special for you. I didn't go to Iraq and Afghanistan for nothing, and neither did you. So hit me up, let me know. Jason, again, thank you so much for being here. Your time was not wasted in any way. And as always, I am Asa Leveaux, dreams and radical blessings.